my 26F husband's 26 meters. Family keeps referring to me as his best friend. What does this mean? My husband Robbie, 26 meters, and I, 26F, got married earlier this year. It was a beautiful day, and I felt so much love and support from both sides of our family. 2 months after our wedding day, we celebrated my birthday at my in-laws' house. It was nothing major, just a dinner and a night together with me, my husband, his mom, 50SF, dad, 50SM, and sister, 22F. That is the first night I noticed them referring to me as Robbie's best friend. After my birthday dinner, we were all sitting together in the living room, just chatting and having some drinks. That's when my sil got a phone call from a good friend of hers. When she answered the phone and her friend asked what she was doing, she replied that it was her brother's best friend's birthday. I had never heard anyone refer to me as Robbie's best friend. I'm his wife, and before that we were engaged for over 2 years. Hearing my sil refer to me like that confused me greatly. I always refer to her as my sil, and I would expect her to do the same. Or maybe even as Robbie's wife, but certainly not best friend. After my sil hung up her phone, I asked her why she referred to me the way she did. She did not seem at all abashed. She just said, well, you are best friends. And that's what mom and dad call you, referring to Mill and Phil. My sil and I are by no means very close, but we are nice to each other and have never had any fights. We just don't hang out outside of family functions because our personalities are pretty different. She's never made it seem like she was annoyed or mad at me. I decided to let it go that night, even though it weirded me out. But then it all happened again a few days ago, which is why I'm writing this post. My Mill and I both work in the same industry doing similar jobs, but at different companies in the area. Sometimes our companies collaborate when we have clients who switch over. This week we had that happen, and I had to pay a visit to my Mill's office to help a client transition. My Mill was in the office, so I stopped by to say hello. While I was there, she introduced me to her colleague, and once again I was perplexed by how she did it. She said, "This is my son's best friend." As I was shaking hands with the colleague, I paused and awkwardly said I'm his wife. The colleague looked confused, but my Mill continued to smile and didn't address it. Once we were alone, I asked my Mill why she referred to me like that. Just like my sil, she didn't seem to act like it was weird at all and said the same thing. Well, you are best friends. The only thing that I can think to explain this is that in my vows to Robbie I promised to continue being his best friend. Nobody acted like this was odd or special, and I feel like it's a pretty common thing to put in vows. So I'm not sure why Robbie's family seems to have clung to it, unless it has nothing to do with everything. I've spoken to Robbie about this too, and he is also perplexed by it. He asked his parents privately about it, and they gave him the same answer they've been giving me. It all just feels like some sort of bullying behavior to me, but I've never felt a sense of this from them before. Are they calling be his best friend because they don't like the fact I'm his wife? Or is it some inside joke they've been in on without me? I'm not sure what to do or make of it, especially because the in-laws are acting like it's not an issue when I bring it up. Yes, I'm Robbie's best friend, but I'm also his life partner and their dill/sil. I don't know what to do. Any input or advice would be welcome. TLDR, my in-laws keep referring to me as my husband's best friend, but I'm his wife and their daughter-in-law. They don't seem to think it's weird at all. Update, my 26F husband's 26 meters family keeps referring to me as his best friend. What does this mean? Unfortunately for my relationship with Robbie's family, shit has hit the fan. Yesterday afternoon, Robbie and I were invited over to his parents' house for dinner. I have a big project due this week at work, so I needed to stay home and wrap it up. I told Robbie to go catch up with his family while I order a pizza. Apparently, this is when Robbie decided he was going to set things straight and figure out why his mom and sister keep referring to me as his best friend. Please keep in mind that I'm telling this story based on the details that my husband has given me. Robbie had a normal dinner with his folks, but they were all drinking a bit more than usual. Robbie decided to bring over some scotch that one of his groomsmen gave him for a wedding gift, so him and his dad were especially loose. Robbie and his dad tend to have guy time together after dinners, where they hang out in his dad's garage and talk about car stuff and projects at home/work. This is where Robbie confronted his dad about the whole situation. From what I can tell, it took some coaxing to get this information out of Phil, but eventually he admitted to Robbie that Mill and Sil and him were all in on some sort of bet as to how long mine and Robbie's marriage was going to last. Phil bet that we would stay together, whereas Mill bet less than 1 year, and Sil bet less than 6 months. Apparently there was a cash prize involved. I don't really want to know how much it was. Phil admitted that he believes the whole best friend Monica was a way to get under my skin and cause doubts about my relationship with Robbie and his family. They think that if they acted like it was a non-issue for long enough, that it would drive me crazy and start making me angry at Robbie for not intervening. Robbie then says he stormed into the house to confront his mom about this all. It ended in a screaming match between Robbie, Mill, and Phil. Robbie eventually stormed out and walked to a nearby gas station, and from there he called me for a ride since he couldn't drive. This morning, when I drove Robbie back to get his car, we had a horribly awkward confrontation with his parents. Mill is apparently pissed at Phil for betraying the secret, and they were fighting about it all night. Phil will be staying with us in our extra bedroom for a couple days, or until they can calm down and talk to each other again. Robbie is now set on going no contact with his mom and sister. He is angry with his father, but is more willing to forgive him. Personally, I would prefer if we saw a family therapist before doing this, but we are still ironing out the details. Hopefully we can get through this with both marriages intact. My 32F boyfriend, 36 meters, deleted my dead brother from my Instagram friends. And he doesn't seem to understand or care that I'm upset. 6 years ago my twin brother Sam died in a horrible accident on the freeway. It was one of the biggest accidents in our state. My only comfort is that he died immediately. The police said he most likely had no idea anything was happening around him. Anyway, before he died Sam was a huge social media user, mostly on Instagram and Snapchat. I never followed him on Snapchat, but I followed him on Instagram. He made thousands of posts about his life, friends, family, music. He was an amazing singer. After he died I would go to his account and just scan through his account. I mostly watched a few videos he made where he does a dialogue for ESL speakers. He taught English to ESL students for extra money. I'd often pretend that he was speaking to me. I know it's not healthy to listen to my dead brother's voice every day, but it just became a habit. A few weeks ago my boyfriend had been urging me to break free from this. He told me that I need to move on. I did start. I would only watch one video, or even not use my phone until right before I went to bed. Last night I went to check my brother's account and I saw that it was gone. I was upset. I texted my sister and she said that she could still see his account. My boyfriend told me that he blocked my brother on my account. I was annoyed, but simply thought I could just go back to following him. But my brother's account was private and our family couldn't access his account years ago. The reasons why he blocked him is because he thought I was in love in my brother, and even accused me of being once intimate with him. My brother. I wanted to vomit. He's my twin. We spent every single day together. Even when we grew up we went to the same university. At the time of my brother's accident we were roommates. I loved my brother, but not in a sick way. My boyfriend never met my brother. He and I only started dating 2 years ago. But after this, I don't know if I can/should continue this relationship. My boyfriend keeps saying that I should move on, that what he did wasn't a big deal. But it was to me. Our mutual friends agree that I should just forgive and forget, but I feel like I'm grieving again. Update: I kicked him out. I gave it a few days for me to calm down, but this was just a breach in trust. He still thinks I'm overreacting. And I've also cut ties with our mutual friends. They were mostly his friends. This incident made me realize I need to spend more time with my family. I've been chatting more with my sister. After Sam's death I was a bit cold towards her, but she has helped me a lot these past couple of days. Also thanks to some amazing people on here we were able to get into Sam's account. I'm now the owner of it. Thank you all. And lastly, Sam, I miss you every single day. 8 to 4 threatening to sue both the school and the family of my daughter's bully. I 30 meters and my husband 33 meters have a 11-year-old daughter who's been going through severe bullying at school. It's just keep getting worse. It started off with just name calling, but has gotten worse over the past few weeks. Context: she's adopted, which is something we've always been open about and celebrated as part of her story. Recently, some kids found out about her adoption and started saying horrible things, telling her stuff like her birth mother didn't want her. They tell her that she's unwanted, tell her she a reject, which is not the case. Her mother loved her very much to the point she literally gave her life so she could be here. If this wasn't bad enough, a few days ago, she came home in tears with her hair butchered. They'd cut off 2 inches of her ponytail well in class, all while taunting her names and laughing at her reaction. They will follow her through the halls to make fun of her on a regular basis now. Both my husband and I have been in touch with the school about the bullying more times than I can count. I emailed, called, even showed up in person to speak with teachers and the principal, but all I got were empty promises that they'd look into it. Nothing changed, and my daughter's mental health has taken a hit. She's anxious, struggling to sleep, and now begs us not to send her to school. Finally, out of frustration and feeling like no one was taking this seriously, we reached out to a lawyer to explore legal action against both the school and the bully's family. Only when the school and her parents learned we were considering a legal action did they start to act. Suddenly, the school calls me to say they are moving the bully out of my daughter's class and claimed they had a talk with her. The girl's parents reached out too, saying they'd talk to their daughter and promised it would stop. But honestly, I don't believe them. It feels like they're all saying this just to get me to back off and avoid the legal consequences. I worry that once the dust settles, things will go right back to how they were, and my daughter will still be dealing with this. My family thinks I should give the school and parents a chance now that they're finally taking action, but I feel like it's all for show. So, 8-4 moving forward with legal action, even though the school and the bully's parents now claim they're handling it.